To have you here this evening. You're all welcome to Public Service HR Mentorship Series, the second leg in the month of April. Please, can we all confirm if you can hear me? Just confirm by saying yes, we can hear you through the chat box. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to have you here. I'm so glad, I'm so happy that we are here again, where we come together to share knowledge, where we come together to make ourselves better and better and better on our services, where we get to deliver the government work vis-a-vis different MDAs where we find ourselves. So we are all welcome. We are all welcome. Thank you. I promise that this session will be mind-blowing because of the person we have brought on board and the topic we are actually looking at. Before we delve into today's topic, let me just shed light on our mantra as my opening remarks for today. You know, I've said it on this platform that our mantra will remain shaping HR, elevating public service. Shaping HR, elevating public service. And I want us to understand the fact that we cannot elevate public service without shaping HR. We cannot elevate public service without shaping HR. And that's where we belong. Okay, that's our profession. And I've said it and I'll continue to say it. And until we internalize it, until we begin to see ourselves, okay, ourselves as the spinal cord of the service. Spinal cord of the service. So what exactly are we talking about when we say elevating the service, elevating the public service? You and I will come together. Simply means we want to improve, okay? We want to improve and transform the way public service is delivered. Please take it. We want to improve. You and I, we are coming together on this platform. We are learning every 2 weeks what has things that has to do with our work, things that has to do with service delivery, and in the long run, we are going to improve and transform. Please underline, you and I, we will improve. We will transform the way public service is delivered to make it more effective, to make it more efficient, okay, ethical, innovative, and people-centered. People-centered. It involves raising the standard of performance, raising the standard of performance, integrity, professionalism, and responsiveness within government institutions among public servants. Please, that is our mission when we say we want to elevate the public service. We are going to come together to improve. So if you're not going to be part of people that will improve, or you don't buy into that idea that you can actually be part of people that will improve and transform the way public service is delivered, then you don't have anything doing on this platform. You don't. So we are coming together not to come and play. We are coming together so that we can improve and transform the way public service is delivered. And because we are the spinal cord, the HR is the spinal cord of the public service. That is, we hold everything together. We hold everything together as HR. So if you are HR, what a privilege even to be in the service and you're on this platform. When HR is strategic, when HR is what? Is strategic, is visionary, and values driven, it will definitely influence every department and decision that will be taken in the public service. So that's what we are doing here. So I'm happy, I'm glad that you are here. You are part of this platform, you are part of this mentorship, because we are the spinal cord. So when we are saying we want to shape HR, we want to shape HR by developing human resource professionals, you and I, professionals who are knowledgeable. Oh my God, you are knowledgeable, who are strategic and impactful in their roles. So when we say we are knowledgeable, it simply means we are competent, we are skilled. We are not going to raise professionals that are unskilled, that are incompetent, that are uninformed, not charlatans. We want to raise professionals that are knowledgeable, professionals on this platform that are strategic, not those ones that are reactive, not those ones that are short-sighted, not those professionals that are unfocused, not those professionals that are disorganized. No, 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 not at all. And when we say professionals that are impactful, we are talking about professionals that are effective, that are inspiring, not mediocres, not dead weight, not dead weight at all. We won't find them here. We will not find dead weight here. We will not find mediocres. They won't find mediocres here, because we are going far, very far in shaping HR. And when we shape HR, we will be knowledgeable, we will be strategic, and we begin to make impact on our roles, in our different offices, in our different MDs. So when we now do that, definitely when HR is well structured, which is what we are looking at, which is our bigger picture on this platform. When HR is well structured and efficient, it will definitely improve the quality of public service. And that was why I said we are going to elevate the public service. We are going to improve and transform the way public service is delivered to make it more effective, efficient, ethical, innovative, and people-centered. That's our focus on this platform. That is what we want to use this mentorship to achieve. In years to come, we will all be happy, fulfilled that we join this mentorship in years to come. So that is my opening remark. That's my opening charge this evening. And I'm happy that you are here. I'm so happy that you are here. So the next thing that I will be doing is to quickly introduce who will be anchoring our facilitation this evening. Okay, Mr. Adekunle Adegbeson. Mr. Adekunle Adegbeson. Mr. Adekunle Adegbeson is an experienced professional. Okay, in the field of human resource. He is currently serving, okay, as the Deputy Director, HR, and Human Resource in this Public Service Matters Directorate. Mr. Adekunle possesses a wealth of knowledge and skills in managing personnel and organizational development. Mr. Adekunle obtained a postgraduate diploma from Administrative College of Nigeria, further honing his expertise in the administrative field. He also accomplished a BA Hon in English Studies in 1998, showcasing a strong academic background. Okay. In addition, Mr. Adekunle's academic qualification he is a licensed human resource professional, further cementing his credibility in this field that we are talking about. The certification demonstrates his dedication to continuous professional development and adherence to the highest standard of ethical and professional practice. Mr. Adekunle has gained extensive experience through his various deployments throughout his career. He has served as at Teaching Service Commission between 2002 and 2005, acquiring valuable insights into the educational sector's human resource management. From 2005 to 2010, he contributed his expertise to the Civil Service Commission, focusing on optimizing human capital development and enhancing overall organizational effectiveness. Okay. Mr. Adekunle, between 2010 and 2014, he took a new challenge at the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Budget, where he played a vital role in developing key human resource strategy and policies. Okay, in 2014, he returned to Civil Service Commission, where he continued his exemplary work in driving human resource initiatives, supporting the professional growth of employees. He successfully transitioned from the Ministry of Tertiary Education in 2016. His extensive experience to key educational institutions, fostering a positive and productive work environment. Currently, Mr. Adekunle is serving at the Public Service Office. This is a testament to his ongoing passion and dedication to improving human resource management in the service. Mr. Adekunle's career trajectory reflects his commitment to professionalism and continuous personal and organizational development. With his exceptional qualifications, coupled with his extensive experience in multiple tech sectors, he continues to contribute significantly to the advancement of human resource practice. And this is why I bolded this, making him a valuable asset to Lagos State that he serves. Remember, I've said it on the platform that few, the concept of few and multitude, and you becoming an asset, you separating yourself, you setting yourself apart. So Mr. Adekunle Adegbesun has set himself apart. He remained a valuable asset to Lagos State. Join me and welcome Mr. Adekunle. Mr. Adekunle, you are welcome to this platform. We want to tap from your wealth of experience. We also want to become valuable assets to Lagos State. Thank you for coming on this mentorship series. You are welcome. And I yield the floor for Olaiton to take over, please.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here again to anchor this program. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. Good evening, everyone. Happy Easter to the Christians on board. Trust we're enjoying our Easter celebrations. I just dropped a link on the chat box. Please kindly fill in the attendance. We'd like that you fill the attendance so that we can know how many of us are on the call. Mr. Adekunle, sir, are you ready, sir?
I'm good.
Okay.
Are you good too?
Oh, yes, I'm good too, sir. So I'm sharing the slides now.
Okay.
So we can start. Is anybody seeing my screen? Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
see
we
your
can
slide.
hear you very clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much. Okay. Sir, you can go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be on this call. I'm not taking this for granted. It's a real privilege. And what this particular cohort is doing is what the service should really adopt. I must salute the organizers of this particular congregation of people that are ready to shape and bring to bear the value of the state public service and also take the public service to a greater height. This privilege that I have is a very great one, and I believe, I know, I promise that it's not going to be taken for granted. And this era that we are in had many of us as admin officers, human resource officers, were oftentimes being castigated, oftentimes being malign, oftentimes being ridiculed because we fail to take up responsibility where we ought to. We fail to master some of the arts that we need to look hard to have as HR personnel. And this, what we are looking at this evening is it's a turbulent topic. It's a topic that has really led to people being disgraced. Yes, even the admin office, the directors and everyone, it's capable of bringing and reducing the value of someone if not handled properly. And we're looking at mastering disciplinary procedures in HR, navigating the public service best practice. When you're talking about this particular aspect, the state government understands the value of discipline, and that's why it's a whole chapter of the public service rule, chapter 4. And what we are talking about is that this aspect is very delicate. It is even very, very delicate on the part of the people handling it. And it also has it has cost implication, if not handled very well, on the state government. And that's why you must not be the one that will let down the guard on this particular aspect. As practitioner, we must master the very art of discipline from the beginning to the very end, because it may lead and it may not lead to litigation. So it's important that it's essential for, when you talk about discipline, is to maintain order and to maintain efficiency in the public service. That's why we have it. And that chapter 4 outlines the disciplinary procedure to ensure fairness that we need to have. We know this discipline we are talking about cannot be applied in the air. Human resource play critical role in doing what? In maintaining, managing disciplinary action in Lagos State Public Service. It is within the purview of the human resource personnel. You cannot do it without you being a master in it. You cannot start the process. And that's why even when you call for a PMB, Personnel Management Board disciplinary, there are permanent secretaries that those that are not admin inclined, like in coach, they invite people that are in establishment positions to help them out because of the implication of such. So human resource play a critical role in managing the disciplinary action in the Lagos State Public Service. It is very, very key. And when you are talking about human resource, you are talking about manager of men and resources, manager of men and everything. You are talking about it. It is because this particular aspect is very, very germane and very, very crucial. That's why we cannot but do it very well. Let me just give you a background story of how we have the disciplinary as a kind, discipline and exit as a department in the Lagos State Public Service, especially with reference to what Civil Service Commission. It was around 2008 or 2000. This department used to be under Career Management Department before, but the former HUS, Prince Adesegun Ogunlewe, was the PS at the commission at that time. And because of the importance of this particular aspect of human, it was just called admin and admin before, not with human resource that time. So this department was carved out of the Career Management Directorate, and it became a full-fledged department, now known as Discipline and Exit. Because you cannot just model the aspect of discipline with career management. And that's why we have, the first director was the Mr. Ajibola Aribi. He became a PAMSEC and is now retired. He was the first director of that department. And that department plays vital role. The department plays vital role in doing what? In ensuring that state government does not in any way get involved in any form of legal battle that is not necessary. And when you are talking about this human resource, you are talking about discipline. Discipline is in all facets of human endeavor. Even at home, if you don't have discipline, you won't be able to achieve your goal. For being on this call this evening, it takes discipline. Are you with me? It takes discipline for you to be on this call even today. And now when you are talking about discipline in service, it's far more encompassing than that. And it's very, very important that you have that at the back of your mind as we are moving on in the state public service. It is good that you look at this particular aspect, and you are just looking at the introduction. Let me also read this particular aspect to you. I read an article in the Vanguard newspaper, and I sent it to someone. What is that article talking about? A man was wrongly dismissed from the Navy. Navy ordered to reinstate dismissed officer, pay 7 million damages. Yes, you can see it because some people were not doing what was right at that point in time. The man was dismissed and he went to industrial court. The industrial court had to tell, look, you have to reinstate this man. You give him all that he's entitled to from 2008 till date. Now, what is the objective of discipline? Is to ensure compliance with workplace rules and policies. Is to maintain professionalism. Yes, that's what we are talking about. It's to safeguard employees' rights while enforcing discipline. This case that I'm referring to, this case I'm alluding to now, the man was unjustly dismissed. Disciplinary action, however, should be directed not only towards sanctions. Please, as HR, let us understand that. That's the objective. You should know that it's not for sanction. It's just to dismiss that officer, to reduce the rank of that officer. No, it's for improved performance. You can give somebody letter of advice. Be of good behavior. Next time, if such thing occur, you will face stiffer sanction. It is for improved performance. And even if somebody as human resource officer, we should look for a way of making that person not to be completely burnt, but it can have the effect, but rather we have a way of mellowing down and allow the person to learn the lesson, so that if the person, except when is irredeemable, as human resource officer, we should try as much as possible to safeguard and help the people to improve performance, to guard against all that is necessary for them to do at every point in time. What the naval rating that I'm talking about was dismissed in 2000, and in 2025, he was asked to be reinstated. How many years interval? You can calculate the number of years, 2008 to 2025. How many years will that person even spend, even in the service? and he did not work for those years, he's going to be paid. He's going to also earn damages. Government is going to pay damages, 7 million. That was what the industrial court operated on, and that was what happened. It is very important that we make sure that we don't allow the disciplinary process to go awry in any form, in any way, in any manner, at any point in time. It is very, very key that as practitioners, we understand what is going on around us and at every point in time. It's not anything, any way. For us, we must safeguard the employee's right. We must safeguard the employee's right at every point in time. It is very, very crucial and very important. And we must know that without the disciplinary procedure, the state service will just be the run of the mill, and everybody can just do whatever he likes at every point in time. And it is not in any way right for anyone to do that, because without the disciplinary procedure in place, people can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and tell the officer, I don't want to see you tomorrow. It's not possible in public service. And there are key regulatory framework that we have in the public service. When you are talking about regulatory framework, you cannot do anything outside of this. Number one, you have the public service rule. As practitioners, many of us don't read this public service rule, and we don't even know which particular aspect we need to cite at every point in time. The public service rules serve as the primary regulatory framework governing every disciplinary procedure in Lagos State Public Service as of today. And the director, admin and human resource, is the one that is the champion, he has the supervisory role to play in ensuring that the discipline is properly handled. Not only that, you talk about the personnel management board. Yes, the personnel management board is also going to be constituted to look at the case and give a recommendation to the authority to take action. The circulars, the public service rule, the current one we are using was reviewed in 2015. And up till now, we have not done any one. Circulars are issued up from time to time to do what? To give guidelines to help and review the public service rule until we have another version. And there is a particular circular that talks about the disciplinary. Please, all public servants, and especially people on this call, should go and get that circular and read it very well. It talks about, it says, the guideline and step for personnel management board disciplinary meeting, dated 24th, I think August 2023. Yes, that was when the circular was issued. The circular was issued to guide us, to give us a kind of a runway to be able to follow, so that we'll be able to monitor. And the Civil Service Commission is also another very important regulatory that is very key. Whatever decision the board takes, whatever recommendation, it is mere recommendation. It is not effective until it is approved by Civil Service Commission or any other such body. That is the only body that is responsible for what? For giving a verdict on any, and they rely so much on the personnel management board, and that's why they don't joke with the composition of the board. So it is the Civil Service Commission, the circular, these are the regulatory framework that we have, and we cannot in any way just shortchange ourselves as personnel. We need to be well handled and be well familiar with some of these things. And the roles of the disciplinary of the HR in disciplinary, I've said it earlier on. I've made mention of it. These are just the guidelines, is to ensure fair and consistent application of the rules. And please, the rules has a way of being numbering. You have the first 2 digits. That is talking about the chapter. The second, the 2 digits has to do with the section. And the last 2 digits refers to the particular rules. You must be able to cite. You must be able to apply the rule. Don't quote the wrong rule. that's as HR, you maintain accurate record of disciplinary actions. You are talking about somebody has been given a query, you cannot find a query, you cannot find the response to the query. You are not maintaining that record, because if it comes to the personnel management board, these are the things that will be required of you to produce. You also provide a kind of guidance on policy compliance and mediate between employee as well as the management when as it may be. Now, please let's note, it's not every time that when you are talking about disciplinary procedure that you talk about PNB. There are still sometimes you have to do some counseling. There are still some period that you have to take up a kind of mentoring, coaching, and looking at the welfare of the officers. And it's very, very key. There are things we do in service, or some things we take assumptions, and we are looking at some of this, what we call some of the myths that some people always have at the back of their mind. And at this point in time, we need to disabuse ourselves from this myth that we are talking about. What are these, please? We need to look at this and more so and familiarize ourselves. Look at this. I'm very particular about this particular aspect of the public service. When it comes to the issuance of query, the issuance of query itself is not in any way a bad thing. It's just for you to explain yourself on a particular thing. You talk about it. We are looking at some of these things. Query, when you say, query, he has given a query. The query, although it is the first point, we'll still talk about it later. The query is a first point. But let me also, at this point in time, disabuse your mind. It's not in itself bad. You are asking for explanation. And once the explanation is able to exonerate you, you are free. That does not mean that that particular officer is a bad officer. A query must be responded to within 48 hours. Well, there's nothing like that in the rule, the public service rule, that states that an officer must respond to a query within specific period given, not less than 48 hours. That's what we are saying. Not less than 48 hours. It's not, that's the specific period. When you are couching your query, you must allow the officer to have a particular time to respond to the query. Must not be less than. Not only that, personnel management board meeting may be convened after 3 queries. Should be, no, it's not in all cases. Please, let's get it clear. It's not in all cases that you must have personnel management 3 queries before you go ahead. There are some cases that you don't even need. A query is enough to set up a personnel management board. I'll give you an instance. Someone that is alleged to have embezzled money in a particular organization of government. Are you waiting for 3 queries for that? No, sir. No, man, you don't need that. It's been alleged, and the auditors have proven everything. There are facts on ground, and there are the evidence are weighing. What do? You don't need to wait for 3 queries. But if it is somebody that is absent, okay, you can say, okay, you give that person a query so that, but before you give query, why can't you ask questions? Why can't you send somebody to go and look at that person? Remember, disciplinary action, disciplinary procedure is not aimed at what? At being punitive. It's to improve performance. So you need to look at that aspect as well. Now, when you're talking about, is the only part in the public service rule that refers to about 3 queries is when somebody is not able to perform the function which he has been appointed. That is when. And you'll be given time for counseling, time for you to be able to improve And even after a year before you can take another action on that person. If officer is absent, the query to the PMB should be pasted. That's another thing. Please don't risk the life of your officers and asking them to take query to somebody's house. The guidelines on the procedures for a disciplinary does not in any way say it's only by personal service. You can also serve by post. Is also recognized. So, and even that is even better. I'll tell you the reason. If you give the letter to dispatch rider in your office to go and take, and the court may tell you, you have a biased mind. The man did not deliver the letter. Or you took the letter to the wrong place. And at times, some will say, take pictures of the place and paste it and take pictures. Well, good, if you are able to do it. But if the environment is not safe, it's not even, I will not advise anyone in this 21st century to be posting letter on someone's gate. Do you know the person who owns the house? The person probably have relocated and you are pasting somebody on somebody else that is occupying. It's very dangerous. So it's not always the case. You can have a kind of service. We are still coming to that anyway. And a query is not punitive, as I said earlier on. A query is just a request for explanation or not intent for you to punish anybody. These are just the myths that we need to disabuse our mind from. And now, what are these? What actions constitute misconduct that will warrant discipline to take place in the public service? What are these? There are many things that can cause one to do what? To have a kind of the tag as what? Having committed an infraction. According to the public service rule, misconduct is defined as specific act of wrongdoing or improper behavior which can be investigated and proved. It can also lead to termination or retirement. Now, please, you have to be very careful when we are defining. This is the definition. We are practitioners. You should be able to distinguish between misconduct and serious misconduct. And there is nothing like gross misconduct. You must use the public service rule language. There's nothing like gross misconduct. It's serious misconduct. And what are the offenses listed? There are many. Even some of the offenses listed as misconduct are also listed as serious misconduct. Yes. Some, like suppression, falsification, or suppression of record, you still have it under serious misconduct. Failure to keep records, sleeping on duty, loitering, dereliction of duty, habitual lateness. Please, not just lateness, habitual lateness. It is very, very important. These are acts that can constitute a kind of an infraction and that can make an officer to face a personnel management board. And the disciplinary procedure starts with what? With the issuance of query. We'll still come to that, but we are just laying the foundation. We are for granted the discussion. And look at it again. When you talk about serious misconduct, a specific act is very similar of serious, wrong, and improper behavior, which is inimical to the image of the service, and it can be investigated and proven, may lead to dismissal. So the thin line of difference is the sanctions that comes with each of them. One leads to termination, the other leads to dismissal. And what are these things that leads to dismissal? Many of them, many. We can see it all outlined. Yes. And now let's go to the aspect of disciplinary procedures. When all this infraction that we have seen earlier have been outlined. And this, let's take one, for example. When someone has been charged with falsification of records. The first is the issuance of query. You cannot constitute a personnel management board meeting without issuing the officer a query. And the query will be telling you who is there, what. Now let's look at what the query must address and how you must couch that. The public service rule also has. Let me give you an instance. I cannot speak on this without referring. I attended the PMB about two weeks ago. Okay, no, about 2 weeks ago, right? Yes, 2 weeks ago. I'm still talking about it. Please, we need to. I'm not going to rush this. If we cannot finish everything that I have today, I will try as much as possible and run over some of the one. But this one, I need to talk about it. You know, in the public service rule, there is a sample of the query letter to be issued. This office that I attended, I will not mention the office. They adopted it hook, line, and sinker. That's how they gave the person query. They did not sign that query. It's only signature. Nobody. The name of the person that wrote the query was not there for the permanent secretary. Just signed. The pattern that they saw in the public service rule. Why will it be like that? A director, admin, and HR, it's not going to work that way. I'm not telling you story of what did not happen. It's what happened at the PMB. Do you know the state council on board that day wanted to quash and stop the proceeding based on that? And what did we do? Some of us met. How do we cure this? You know what we did? We now asked the person, okay, this letter actually was not delivered. Very good. Thank you very much for not being delivered. That's a good one for us. To cure that so that we can go on with the proceeding of that PMB. If not, we will have just stopped the PMB at that point in time. And that means the PMB did not take place just because of the query. It was the way it was crafted. Number one, they just go and adopt and the person did not sign and nobody, the name of the person, the legal person, if you take this to court, it will not sail through. So because of that, we cannot. I said, look, let's cure it. And then we cured it something. We will now, I told them now, go and reissue the letter properly. Since it was not delivered, it was not received, so that we can, and the lawyer agreed. And that was how we continued. So the query must be precise and concise. When you are saying you are precise, oh, the office has received a notice, or the office has been informed of your blah, blah, blah. You have been alleged to have. Please, you cannot say the officer is guilty. You use the word, be very careful. It has been alleged. That word alleged is very important. Everything is allegation. You don't believe that that officer has committed that offense. It's still an allegation. It must also relate to the circumstances of the offense. You now tell the person what he has done. It has been brought to the office or to the notice of the office that you were absent from duty without leave for a period of 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, as the case may be. It must also relate the rules and regulations which the officer has violated must be clearly stated. This is what your action is tantamount to blah, blah, blah. Falsification of record, absence without leave is there. Please, let us read it. We are in the serious misconduct. We have about 30 offenses listed. 30 different offenses listed. So please, and if you don't have anywhere you want to hang anything on, go to number 30. Any act unbecoming of a public officer. If you cannot find a specific one relating to that officer, please ensure that you do what? You use that one, because you must refer to that relevant rule. And not only that, the likely punishment for the offense. We have 10 sanctions listed in the public service rule. You must also do what? You must list the 10 sanctions and the 10 sanctions that are listed, you must do what? You must do. It is also important that the officer replies in writing to the query given not less than 48 hours. Now, when the officer has responded, what is your duty as the schedule officer? You appraise the query. You evaluate the query. You examine the query. The response, rather. I'm talking about the response to the query now. You evaluate it. 3 things must happen when you have evaluated the response. Number 1, you must determine, has this officer absolved himself of blame? Number 2, this officer is guilty of the offense. You must determine that. But number 3, the officer has not absolved himself. He has absolved himself, is guilty of the offense, but we don't want to punish him. You just want to give him one letter of advice. The officer has not exculpated himself. That is the right word. The officer has not exculpated himself. Go ahead for you to set a personnel management board meeting. If the PS decide that the personnel management board meeting should go on, it will go on. Oh, this offense that this person has committed, well, he has done it, but we don't want to punish him. You can be given a letter of advice. So those 3 things are very important and key before you go ahead with the composition of the personnel management board. Query must be well crafted, and it must also be properly served to the last known address in the record of service. If we are speaking to service because it's very important. This is the number 1 aspect. Please always ensure the query should not be ambiguous. What the offense the person has done, has committed, is there in the public service rule, the likely sanction. And please, when you are giving the query, please go back to the public service rule, chapter 4. There's an extra there that tells you about even the person must also sign that he has received that query. It's not going to be in the first page, where you have the letter N. It's going to be the second page where you have the plain paper, and it's very important that you do that. I made reference to the PMB I attended last week. That was what the ministry did. They copied everything and put it on the first page with the letter N. It was very wrong, and it almost marred the process that day. So please, when you are looking at that, please, the query is very, very important. Once the officer has presented the query, you must evaluate the query and look at it. Then write to the accounting officer to give the necessary direction. You must also recommend, please. That's why I told you that it's either the officer has exculpated himself, he has not exculpated himself. The officer is guilty of the offense, but he should not be punished. So these 3 things, you need to have it. And you are to advise the accounting officer. You advise the accounting officer. When you advise the accounting officer, it will be in the best interest to do. Because you cannot say, let the PS decide. What is the PS going to decide on? You must guide the PS. You must guide the accounting officer on the next step to take. After you have now given the query, the next thing that we are talking about the service. When you are talking, if the query given, how do you serve? Especially people that are on a wall, away without official leave, we call it in service. Now, how do you serve the person? that circular that I made reference to talk about personal service or by post. You can serve that officer within 48 hours. A letter, at least 48 hour notice must be given before the personnel management board is given. It's very, very important. Where the officer has not exonerated, you give that person, if you want to invite him to personnel, even if the officer is still in the office with you, you still need to do what? You need to give formal notice. And if the officer is not available, you must also give that officer the letter of invitation to the personnel management board meeting. Not by WhatsApp. Please. Because at times you may not be able to tender that in court, except you print. And most of us, we don't. But rewrite. Let courier take it. It's either by post. Now, the second aspect is personal service. You can send someone, or you can also take it by post. It's very important. And not only that, before you are talking about the officers that is in question, what about the people that you want to invite to the personnel management board to sit on that? We are coming to that anyway. Now, looking at that, must be within 48 hours. That means how many days? 2 days. I mean, yes. Within 2 days, you must do that. Give the person. You must do everything that you need to do and allow the officer. Now, when you are now packaging everything, you are putting everything together for the personnel management board, you are writing, please include everything that the officer need to have. You have alleged the officer, he has done this. You must show the officer what he has done. It is important that what you do it that way. It's important that you have that at the back of your mind. When you are serving, you must either serve by post, as said earlier on, or by personal service. But please, I will advise that you take by post. The quorum also is very, very important. When you're talking about quorum for the personnel management board, we have level 1 to 6, level 7 to 12, level 13 to 17. Now, all these have their own composition of the board. For levels 1 to 6, you have who is going to be the levels 1 to 6? The director here and HR will be the chairman, and the deputy director will be there. You have some, level 12 officers can also be on that board. We will make reference to the circular. You have as itemize the number of people that will be on that board. You also need to invite the staff for them. For levels 1 to 6, the staff must be present. The parent, if the person is the Ministry of Justice is very key on that board. Without this, the quorum is not formed. When you're talking about composition of the board, the quorum is very, very essential and very, very key. Are we good to go? Hello?
We are good to go.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I just continue like that. I want a kind of feedback to know what I'm talking about. I'm still looking at that composition of the board. For level 8, level 7 to 12, you have the assistant, the deputy, the one permanent secretary is enough for that. And then you have directors, 3 directors. The representative of the representative of commission must be there. The representative of the Ministry of Justice must be there. The representative of the parent ministry or supervisory ministry must also be there. If any of these are not there, you cannot have that. That board is not properly constituted. And whatever decision is taken is null and void. Levels 13 to 17 must have 3 permanent secretaries. 3 permanent secretaries must be on board. If you don't have 3 permanent secretaries, the board is not proper. And 5 substantive directors. The office of head of service must be represented. Ministry of Justice must be represented. Civil Service Commission must be on that board, as well as the supervisory agency must be on that board for the board to be properly constituted. Why? If it's not properly constituted, you cannot have a valid personnel management board meeting. And now, when the board is sitting, we need to, whatever board, let's go to number D now. It talks about the recommendation of the personnel management board. That is the D part of it. The personnel management, the recommendation is very, very essential. The officer has been given, when you are now at the meeting, you must present to the officer. Oh, you change the check or you wrote the check. You must present to the officer what he has done. Everything that he has been able to do, you must be able to allow him to check. Okay, you signed this, you signed for the collection of this money. You can present where you have the signature for the officer to verify. The D part of it is what? The recommendation. Please, when you are talking about the recommendation, please always draw, there's what is called observation. It is from that observation, it was observed that the officer was economical with the truth. He has been a serial offender. If you have that as your observation, and you now want to now make your recommendation, based on this, your recommendation will flow from your observations on the officers, from what the officer has been saying. Oh, the officer is a first-time offender. That's your observation. The officer has been able to own up. That's your observation. It's now depends on what you now, that will now flow into your recommendation. The board, after exhaustive deliberation, recommended as follows. 1, the officer should, as committed, blah, 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 as been able, we have established the fact that the officer has been able to do, is already established that is this what the officer has done. About 30 of them, just write 1. And then, what is the board recommending in the public service rule? According to the public service, reduction in rank. When you reduce an officer in rank, at times it's even worse than the termination of appointment. I'll give you an instance. If the officer is already due for level, the next grade level is mature, and you reduce that officer in rank, maybe he's on 15, and the officer is about to exit in the service, and they reduce the officer in rank, he can never get to that 15. Maybe he has just a year to retire. He can never get to that level. So and there are also, thank God that the public service rule is being reviewed now. There are some sanctions that are not actionable. And I will tell you the reason. For example, he said defer increment. And when are you going to get to Oracle? When is the PMB going to tell, and then say, defer this person's increment? It's either January or July. That's the incremental date. And if the officers has already earned his increment, why will you defer the increment again? And for you to be able to do that, that means you have to wait till the next year. There are some that are not just actionable so when we are looking at the recommendation, at times it's surcharge. If the officer has been able to do what is being able, maybe he committed a kind of offense that has to do with finance or damage to the government property, it can be surcharged. So please, the recommendation will flow. And the recommendation, please, people that are handling disciplinary matters, every disciplinary matter should be concluded within 60 days. 60 days maximum, except in peculiar circumstances or where there is what? Disciplinary. I mean, a criminal matter. Sorry. That's where you have it. So it's very, very important that as you are now, we need to talk about it and talk about it very well. It's very important where the recommendation of the personnel, it must get to the public, to the commission. You are not the final arbiter when it comes to disciplinary matter. As officer, you are not what? You are not the final arbiter. You are just going to do your recommendation, and you must not mislead the commission in giving any kind of recommendation. So please, as officers, please, whenever you write your minute, everything should be well captured and forward to the appropriate commission after duly signing the minute of all the representative appointed for the particular meeting. It's important that you have that at the back of your mind while you are doing that. So please, let us have at the back of our mind that our minutes should not stay with us for too long. It should not be. It should not be. Minutes with you for 1 month, you have not sent it to the commission. It's not a good thing. And we will see the challenges later when we are talking about it. So please, any matter that has to do with discipline must be done with dispatch. It must be done carefully because it can lead to... I read a particular story to you of the naval officer that was dismissed wrongly. And even at times, the state government will lose money if the PNB is not properly organized, conducted or carried out. It's very, very important. So let's now look at some of the challenges that has to do with having personnel management board. What are the challenges? Delay in investigation. It's a major challenge in the public service. And we have, in spite of the fact, they will say, okay, go and reserve the officer. Go and look at the location of the officer. Some will say, we cannot find the officer. And because of this delay in investigation, some officers that have been away, they will now come back. I was at the PNB. The officer was away for a long period. Nothing was done. The name was not removed from the payroll. The officer came back. Do you know what happened? The officer I was part of the PNB, and I recommended that the officer should be taken back because he gave an excuse that, okay, he was away because of, and he was taking care of herself in the traditional medical, and he was able to produce that. It's because of the delay that gave that officer. If you give the officer, and sometimes we have to arrive at the decision at the PNB because of the prolonged way we do things. When you are supposed to solve somebody's salary, you did not solve the salary, and the person now comes back. You will employ that person. You will take that person back. Lack of proper documentation. When you are supposed to invite somebody for PNB, you did not invite the person, and you are now saying, I asked the person to go and give. Inadequate records will weaken the process. And these are the things the legal people will tell us, that these are the things that will make them to lose the case in court. Biases and favoritism, unequal treatment of employee. Yes, unequal treatment of people. We have seen cases in this. The HR must stand to it. There must be the same rule that governs the theory on discipline by McGregor and the rest also theory is impartiality. You don't know whose ox is God. Anybody that touches the osto is born. Biases must be removed. The legal implication is also what also delays sometimes PNB, because we have had instances in the past that the PNB will have to be rescheduled. Okay, let us not take decision now. Go and serve the officer again. Look for the next of kin. Oh, the query is not properly crafted. You did not invite some ministry. They will not invite the officer. And I call him, he's not available. That's not part of it. You cannot use that one to determine the case. These are the challenges that we have in the disciplinary, and there are others as well. Most of us, we work in HR. Even some people, they don't work in HR. They are in an HR department, but they don't even ask, and you call yourself admin officer, you don't know what you ought to know about the HR. Every aspect of it, you must have a hands-on on it. That's why I'm very grateful to this to the organizers of this platform. That even it's not this what we are going through now. It's not that we are going to write exams about it, but it's a kind of training, an enlightenment that we have been going through. Is an informal way of learning. It's very, very important. The legal implication is not all that we are talking about. We must look at it very well so that the state government is not in any way liable. And somebody, look at this one now, the case has, somebody has been dismissed 2008. Now 2025, the judgment was given. The person was to be paid by everything. And also the promotion will be given to that person. I know what these people will do. I'll tell you. They will call this person secretly and do a kind of bargaining with him, because there is no way they'll be able to offset all that they have. And if the person accepts, good. If he does not, they will have to pay everything. But someone has made the government to lose in that extent because of improper way of doing things. And we must, as HR, guide against such. We must guide against it at every point in time. It's very, very crucial and very, very essential that we know that these are the major challenges. How do we now, what are the ways forward, going forward as HR practitioners? How do we move forward? Delays in investigation. There shouldn't be any delay. We can also have what is called administrative panel that can look at matter. It's not until everything is not PMB. You can have administrative panel. If the administrative panel will solve the problem, so be it. And we must keep record adequately. Remove biases and also guide against. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to take any decision, especially when it has to do with dismissal. The board must not be in a hurry. Adherence to due process and fair hearing. I said it earlier on. Fair hearing is very, very important. You give officers, if you are accusing them, okay, you sign check, you sign money for, bring the evidence to the person. Okay, can you see this one? Oh, it's my signature. Good. It's not my signature. Let's leave it. Now, proper documentation of offenses and decisions. I've had people, they say, this officer is a lazy person. He's not coming to work. And when the SPADEF come, attendance, they will give that person 100. And now you are telling us the officer is not coming to work. And when you talk about in the SPADEF, you rate the officer high in the attendance. You are the one that is causing problem. Where is the evidence? No proper documentation. Okay, this officer, he cannot write very well. Where is the evidence? And when the SPADEF come, you now score the officer very well. High. Even some will score above 64. They will score somebody 70. And no evidence to show. And there's a rule concerning the SPADEF that if you score above 65, you must have justification for it. But most of it, we don't have that. Proper documentation of the offenses and decisions must also be timely resolution of disciplinary cases. It must not be it must not be more than 60 days for everything to be, with even commission, everything must not be less than 60 days, except in criminal, when it involves criminal case or special circumstances. Now, we need to understand that in the workplace, we have to understand the rules and regulation guiding every employee of the state government. It's good to work with the state government, but there are infractions that we have to be very careful with. Continuous training like this ones we are having will help everyone to be in the best practice. And you also guide against. We need to tell people about this. You that you are in HR, organize sessions for people in your department, in your ministry that are not HR inclined. Some of them, they are engineers. You may be working with the engineer. Organize training for them from time to time, for them to understand what can cause problem for them in the place of work that can make them to face the personnel management board. It's very, very important and it's key. So we need to understand that particular aspect. It's not that you only know it, you must also cascade it and teach others and allow them to flow with it, and they will guide against it. Do you know that traveling without getting permission from the office of the head of service risk you for dismissal from service is akin to being away without leave, and the ultimate penalty is dismissal. It's very important. So we need to understand all these very aspects, and disciplinary procedures are vital in maintaining a good public service. A structured and fair process benefit both the employee and the employer. And the employer. The two, if you have the everything must be laid to, even during the process. If you see somebody on the board that you don't like, that you can raise your hand. You can never allow people to ask, is there any of us here that you don't want us to be on this board? You can raise. And let me also say this. If you are, maybe you are in HR, and HR, and you have your driver as air, you cannot be on that board to sit on that matter. You must excuse yourself and leave others for fair hearing and for unbiased meeting. You need to excuse yourself from such meeting. Anyone for that matter, HR must ensure transparency. You say, I go and call the head of department. The head of department must not be part of the board to sit on the matter. HR must ensure transparency, must ensure accountability and adherence to regulations. These are very, very key. And we cannot exhaust everything about now all these processes that we have gone through. If you want to take them one after the other, for example, writing the minute of meeting, it's another topic entirely. How do you structure your minutes? Who are the people that are supposed to be in that? Is it everything that is said on that? Some have read minutes whereby we are writing, this is what this person has said, this is what this person has said. No, we are not a verbatim reporter. Like question and answer. Question, the board asks and he responded. No, that's past old school way of writing minutes. You write and summarize all the proceedings. And please, HR must handle disciplinary procedure in a way that will not put government in bad light. HR must handle disciplinary procedure not only for punitive measure, as a punitive measure, but as a form of reformation of the persons or persons involved in that aspect. The disciplinary process is a whole lot, and it has implication on the image of the public service. We must handle it carefully as HR. Thank you. I'll wrap up on this. If you have any questions, we are free to ask the questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Adegbeson. Thank you so much. Before we go to question and answer session. We want to say thank you for this insightful presentation. Now on this platform, we've known as HR professionals that no more delay of turning in our PNB minute of meeting. We should not delay that, and we should also be careful that we do proper documentation of proceedings and whatever might have transpired in culminating to what we call PMB. Proper documentation is key, and as HR, we must also organize, according to him, I took that from him, that we must also organize knowledge sharing session for non-HR professionals or personnel in our offices. We should also do what? We should also educate them so that they know what is required of them in our different offices. So as HR, we are in professional ministry where we have engineers, doctors, and lawyers, and so on and so forth. We should also take it upon ourselves to organize knowledge sharing sessions for them. Then we should also try, especially for those who are on this platform, those who are here, who are professionals on this platform, should also not put government in bad light. That is his word for us. And he said, we should note that PMB is not for punitive measure. Thank you so much. And that's our desire on this platform. We want to shape HR, and we must shape it. And once we shape the HR, we are elevating the public service, knowing fully that HR is the backbone of the public service. And don't forget, we said public service function. Public service is the backbone of a functioning society. When a society is functioning properly, accordingly, check the public service. Thank you, Mr. Adigbeson. We are grateful for this insightful uh, uh, session that you have taken us through. It's time now for me to hand over to Olaiton Peradventure. We have questions that she will anchor immediately after I yield the floor for her. Thank you, Mr. Adigbeson. Olaiton, please take over.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Mr. Adigbeson. I think I'll have to change your name